Hello there, everybody. This is Devin here with the Rogue Deck Chronicle podcast, and this week we are profiling a deck that honestly I am very surprised most people would consider rogue in the meta right now, and that would be Hop Zacian and Friends. So, Hop Zacian EX is a basic 230 HP metal type Pokemon that has 2 attacks, but we're only going to be utilizing one of them in today's deck. So the first attack is insta-strike. It does 30 base damage for 1 color's energy, but this attack also does 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that may not sound super intriguing, super impactful, especially when you see this Brave Slash attack that does 240, but you can't attack next turn for triple metal and colors. Well, we don't run metal energy in this deck, so we're not going to be worrying about that attack. We're going to do everything about insta-strike and being able to power up and strike in multiple ways in order to make that damage impactful and make it where we are going to make this the main attacker of the deck. So how do we get there? Well, first, Hop Snorlax. Hop Snorlax is a basic Pokemon for 150 HP and has the ability Extra Helpings. Attacks used by your Hop's Pokemon do 30 more damage. The effects of Extra Helpings does not stack, so we can only really need one in play, so that 30 now becomes 60. But there's going to be more. So on top of that as well, we're going to run the Stadium Postwick. Attacks used by your Hop's Pokemon do 30 more damage. So now we're at 90 and still doing 30 to the bench the entire time. And there is still more. Lastly, it's going to be Hop's Choice Band. Attacks used by your Pokemon, Hop's Pokemon attached to 1 colorless less and do 30 more damage. So we're doing 120 for 0 energy if we have a Hop's Choice Band attached to our Zacian. So that's all fine and dandy, but how else are we kind of putting everything around? We've already talked about the Snorlax, we talked about all the Hop's little pieces, but what else are we running? So we are running a Iron Valiant EX with this. Iron Valiant EX is here for the Tachyon Bits ability. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the bench to the active, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is not a Russian style ability where you'll automatically promote to the active. You have to be able to get Iron Valiant into the active through other means. But once it's there, you're putting 2 more damage counters onto your opponent's Pokemon any way you want. So we could fix damage onto the active before we do the 120. We could put damage onto a bench Pokemon, and we can put multiple Iron Valiants into the active through different mechanisms, and we'll talk about those mechanisms in a minute. And then we can clean up by taking multiple prizes with the Insta-Strike attack. So it's very versatile in this list. Along with that, we are going to run 1 Mew EX for the restart ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 3 in hand. So we can be late game Iono proof. We can just try to just have a smaller, medium sized hand in order to just kind of keep resources flowing for us. And if we're absolutely desperate, we could always do Geno hacking, but 3 energy the hard way is not something we want to do. And then we are running a Fezandipiti. It's never a bad thing to have flip the script where you can just draw 3 of one of your opponent's kits, or one of your opponents knocked out one of our Pokemon, so it's always a good thing to have. The other Pokemon we are going to run is we are going to run 1 Iron Bundle for the Hyper Blower ability. So this is a future Pokemon. We do run some Future Search in our deck, so it's one of those cards that we could get whenever we need. And then we run 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna. We run 2 Hop's Cramorant. So Hop's Cramorant can benefit from all those tricks that we talked about in terms of buffing Hop Zacian's damage. And for Fickle Spitting, for 120 plus those buffs, we only do damage when our opponent has 3 or 4 prizes, but that's an easy middle game attack that we could sprinkle in for Hop's Cramorant in order to make sure our opponent just does not take the win through 3 2-prize knockouts. Forcing him to knock out 1 or 2 Hop's Cramorant slows his pace down a little bit. And the last Pokemon in this list is Squawkabilly. Yes, on a previous episode I was very, very critical of this card, but this is more of an aggressive deck. This is very much an aggro deck. So using the Squawkabilly's turn 1 is something that I see the value in. It makes sense. We want to dig, we want to everything we need to play. We want to have this Hop Zacian to be powered up turn 1 of all its buffs. So a Squawkabilly's ability is something that makes sense. Now, the ace spec of choice for this is Prime Catcher. Switch your opponent's active Pokemon bench to your active. If you do switch, that is synergistic with what we want to do with Iron Valiant. We run 4 hard switches. Again, we want to keep on trying to cycle through our Iron Valiant as much as possible. We run 2 Techno Radar, which will allow us to search for our Iron Bundle and Iron Valiant. Again, we're just trying to get these pieces into play as efficiently as quickly as possible. For Nest Ball, we run only basic Pokemon. We have no evolution, so Nest Ball is the perfect card for us. And then we run 2 Surfer, which is a switch and draw up to 5. And then in terms of our Pokemon tools, we run 2 Future Booster Energy Capsules. So the Pokemon that's attacked is 20 more damage. We're not going to be attacking with our future Pokemon, but it does give our future Pokemon free retreat. So we'll put an Iron Valiant into the active, retreat out. Put an Iron Valiant active, retreat out. We don't have to worry about the 2 energy retreat costs because Iron Valiant does not care about that. And then running 4 Hop's Choice Band for optimal damage output. The energy for this deck is only 6. We run 4 Jet Energy. Again, another way to put a Pokemon into the active, especially with a Hop's Choice Band. Our Zacian does not need an energy to attack, so we can use this Jet Energy as another switch card for our Iron Valiant combination. And then a Mist Energy provides a color's energy, but it also prevents all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to the Pokemon this is attached to. So it can prevent damage counters from Dragapult. It can prevent anything that can happen as an effect that's not straight damage. So I will say this is not a list that I created. This is a list that got day 2 at Milwaukee Regional, and the list, everything will be in the description of this video. So let's go take Hop Zacian friends out onto the ladder and see how we do. Alrighty, so we are going first. So we'll just put 1 Iron Valiant the active. And let's see where our opponent has. Playing against an End deck. Okay, so we're doing Hop versus End today. Okay, so there's some pieces here I don't want to give up. There's pieces I'm willing to give up here. So we're gonna put the booster capsule on the bench, Iron Valiant for now. And we're gonna put a Squawkabilly into play. Let's Squawk and Sneeze. Our hand would have been really good if we were going second, but it isn't. So we have Arven for next turn. We switch to get out, retreat. Okay, cool. So we are going to end our turn. Got a pretty decent setup here. There we go. So where next turn we can put pressure on our opponent on both Zoras actually. We'll be able to KO if we get enough pieces into play. And we'll be able to kind of pepper at least 1 Zora down. So we want to kind of make sure that our opponent doesn't get multiple Zorax into play and into motion. Because really, again, the whole end deck is all about TM evolution. Really just trying to pepper and try to copy as many different ends attacks as possible. But if you're able to kind of slow them down by not evolving, fine. So depending on who they evolve will depend on how we kind of maneuver our damage counters away from the active. Because we can do 20, 40, 70 with just a combination of these 3 cards here. But it looks like we're going to see 2 Inzoras on the... Okay. So I'm going to keep that Badoo in a play as long as possible. That Badoo is just an easy KO for us. So there's no real reason for us to go into like a hard mode here. Okay, so we're going to grab a second Arven. So we'll just have we'll have a supporter next turn in our hand already. So we're going to Arven. So we need a Hop's Choice Band for sure. And then we're going to get a Hop's Bag. Actually, no. We're just going to do a Nest Ball. We don't need a Hop's Bag right now. We already have Zacian on the bench. So we're going to Nest Ball here. Grab a Snorlax. We're going to put Hop's Choice Band here. The game's acting a little slow. I do apologize, guys. Alright, so first, we want to do a first switch. For the Tachyon bits. Here's going to be the interesting part. I was thinking about putting damage counters onto the bench here, but we're just shy because we don't have the Postwicks in play. Actually, no, we could have KO'd, but that ensures a KO there. So we can do that. That gives us free retreat this turn, so we're just going to be able to do that. We have enough of what we want. Because the next turn we'll be able, hopefully, be able to target down the Darumaka. Unfortunately, we're kind of opening ourselves up to some things here. Like, I really don't want to target down this Ends Reshiram until I'm ready to full out KO it because of that powerful Rage attack. But with not having any real damage counters in the play, I don't really want to put a lot of pressure on any of the Zoroarks right now, because they can just do a return code fairly easily. So we're just going to take the first. We're going to put damage counters onto that Darumaka. We have another Hop Zacian in hand with Arven in hand. We have a free retreater set up with Iron Valiant. So with Badoo doing Itchy Pollen, that's fine because we can Arven for whatever we need. So now we're just going to unfortunately watch our opponent just get kind of set up here. There is a very real possibility that they'll put enough Darkness Energy into the discard pile and get End's PP up to be able to do that Night Joker attack, which right now they're either doing 50 or they're doing 170. So for the End Zoroarks, either one of them, they are going to just we'll have to two-shot them. And with Iron Valiant's ability, we'll be able to get them in for sure two-shot range because we're doing 120, 120 plus a couple of Tachyon bits. We'll be able to kind of play around with that a little bit. So there we go. There's the Ends PP up I was talking about. This is ready to go. So we're only going to see the Itchy Pollen. So we resist it, so we just can't use items this turn, which is not the end of the world. We have plenty of opportunity to do what we need here. So we can do one of two things. We really can't do any of the retreating shenanigans that we wanted to, because we can't do anything with the switch. But we can just do the 90 to maybe one of the Zoroarks and just kind of give up a Zacian. So I'm going to put the Zacian we have into play. That way we kind of protect ourselves a little bit of like maybe an Iono out or anything like that. And then I want to boss this Zoroark because it is clearly the threat. I am a little afraid of the Zacian, that Zoroark or the Reshiram, but I just can't do enough to it right now. But we're gonna just poke 90. We're gonna set up a problem in the future, but I want to get rid of that item lock. I'm just not a fan of that. It just kind of did slow us down this turn, so I want to be able to just take that out of the equation. We grabbed another boss just in case, so we want to hold that as long as possible. So we're not doing our full 120, but we have what we kind of like to have in our hand. We don't have to worry about item lock anymore. There is one energy in the discard pile, so Hourglass is active for it if it does get stuck. But that is why we wanted to put down that Zacian into play then. We just got Iono'd. We got exactly what we were expecting to happen. We do have a pot switch now, so we're now able to hit the full 120 if we need to. Now we don't have our switching cards like we had, but we can live with this. Alrighty. So what does Mark Garmanitan do? Okay, so it's going to do that 90 attack, is really what it would be. So, discard energy from this Pokemon instead of 90 to one in my bench. That doesn't really help him do math. It'll help a couple math turns, but not all. So discarding energy, just do 90 really isn't ideal. He's just protecting that Garmanitan from chip damage with insta-strike. If we wanted to, we could always try to pull it up. Ideally, what I want to try to do now is try to target down this Ends Reshiram with some moving around plays and pieces here and there, to try to to get that attack off, the damage attack off. So you're going to counter catcher. What are you counter catching? You're getting rid of one of our two Snorlaxes. So Night Joker for the KO. So we're doing a little less damage now. That's fine. I am going to put up this Iron Valiant. I'm going to try to pull off and see if we can get my future energy. Alright, so we got kind of what we wanted here. So we're going to put the Postwick in play. Let's just get that out of the situation. So let's get a Nest Ball. Alright, so we do not have the other Snorlax. It must be in prizes, so well, I'll grab a Fezandipiti. We just got some pieces. We can definitely take advantage of that right now. So let's flip the script just to fill our hand up, give us more options before we make a decision here. Let's put the choice span onto this Zacian, that way we can kind of have it there. So Night Stretcher would have given us, can give us a Snorlax in the future, which is fantastic. So let's booster Capsule there. The game wants us to play. A little slow in the game this morning. There we go. It's recognizing that. It's recognizing. So I'm gonna put this Iron Valiant up. I want to... I'm gonna put damage there. I'm gonna set that up for a future KO. And then I am going to Jet Energy this Zacian here, which will put it up into the active. Get that out of the spot. We have 2 free retreaters. We have the Night Stretcher, which we can just hold if when we get that bench spot opened up. And then we're just gonna do another 90. That makes us now just a 1 turn of combination play away from getting where we need to go. And just going to target down that Reshiram. Now that Reshiram is within target strike as well. So we have insta-strike combinations on a couple of different spots here. To where if we get our boss, we can get rid of the Reshiram. We can just insta-strike into an Zoroark. So at no point are we going to be able to take 3 prizes for the 4, but we can kind of just slow him down. Because we're going to concede this Zacian this turn, or a Zacian this turn. And if they're not conceding a Zacian, they're giving up a non-attacker, which is perfectly fine. So we have Hop's bag in the hand, so if we have to pull something out, like right now, if we really wanted to, if we lose a Zacian, we can always Hop bag a Cramorant for an easy 120 and just give them and make them have to go through a Cramorant, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We have the Darmanitan here now that's going to be an active attacker. Yep, we knew that Reshiram attack was coming into play. So now we're just going to put an Iron Valiant into the active. So Mist Energy is really not going to be helping too much here. We do need to pay attention to this Monkey Dory putting damage onto our side. So first things first, I want to flip the script. I want to make sure and try to get some other cards. We got the Cramorant naturally, so that's nice. This can be held for a later issue. So now we can do 120 to the Zoroark without having to give up anything as long as we get another choice band. Or we can just do the Mist Energy itself. So we're going to put the Cramorant in play. I'm going to put the Mist Energy onto the Cramorant. It seems like that's honestly just the best option for what we have right now. And then we're going to retreat into the Cramorant. Unfortunately, we can't really pepper or move any damage counters off the board. But we're going to force our opponent so we're a little bit off pace here. Like there's the choice band we needed this turn, but it didn't really affect damage. It just would have not made us have to do an energy attachment. We're a little bit off pace. I don't feel comfortable with the position we're in right now because the 90-90 I'm not too worried about. He's doing the Flame Body Cannon. Not really worried about, what is this? Probably ends Castle. Adrenablane, yeah. So we're just gonna see damage get put on our side of the board. Yeah, so he's gonna take out the Cramorant this turn. Which is fine, because honestly, if he wasn't KOing the Cramorant this turn, I don't think he wanted to see Cramorant hitting a second time. So there is definitely a world where we could just pick apart and just kind of pick down on the 2 bench Pokemon here. But we would definitely need our boss. We would definitely need our boss, the 120, and then put damage there, and then see what happens. So, again, let's put the free retreater in the active. We have our hops bag to get a Pokemon back. We want to get the Snorlax. There's a Surfer. It's not really exactly what I would want. First and foremost, just get rid of Ends Castle. Oh my god, game. Live. Please, thank you. Let's flip the script. I want to try to see if we can get the boss that's in the deck into our hand. Because I really want to get that Monkey Dory out of play today. Okay. Okay. We can do some shenanigans here to try to ping down. So we need to do 80. We're just 10 shy on that because we can't do all the switches. Oh, maybe we could. Actually, maybe we can. Okay, Night Stretcher, fine. Just trying to figure out what we have to do here. I think the Snorlax is going to be the play. I think we're just 1. So if we switch to 1, it'll be... You know what? I think this turn, doing the double switch and pinging down the Reshiram is the play here. So I'm gonna switch 1 to here. Ping the Reshiram. We're going to switch another there. We're gonna ping the Reshiram. So that puts Reshiram 40, we do 30, so we do need 1 more. We're going to Surfer to put that up there. We're going to ping the Reshiram. We are going to retreat. Into the Zacian. Game's giving us suspense, making sure I'm hoping I'm doing everything right here. We have the Mist Energy, but I don't think the Mist Energy is going to do anything. I'm gonna put the Mist Energy onto Squawkabilly just to prevent any Flame Body Cannon shenanigans there. And then we're gonna insta-strike and then do that 30 damage to that Reshiram. And now we're 1 prize away. We have a couple options in the deck now where we have to survive this turn. And if we do, we'll be fine. There's the other Hop Snorlax. We may not need that anymore. It's not going to fix really any math. There's Ends Castle. We have another Postwick, but it's really not going to do much. Our Manitan being 50 away, we can start pinging it if we survive this turn. Night Joker. So really what my goal would be is to try to get the boss. Then I can guarantee a KO. Okay. Because I think I used a lot of my resources on that switch to target down that restrict. So, ooh, yeah, I think we're cooked, unfortunately. With him not getting a KO, we are 20 shy, so we just had one retreat shy of doing what we need to do, unfortunately. So, we're just a little bit too shy there. So we'll let Enzora get the win. We just could not cross the finish line there. We would have been able, like, I hate to be this type of player. If I would have got X, I could have. Yes, the boss's order was in the deck. Yes, that would have been the condition. I think we burned all our switches and our switch combinations, really. So we did what we could to get ourselves in a situation, in a position to at least get to this one prize situation. It doesn't really matter what attack he uses. He's going to get the prize from the Squawkabilly. It's just one of those situations where we're just maybe one or two pieces away from really being able to finish. But you see in this match right here, that Iron Valiant really is able to kind of fix and put math into ranges for us. We're able to do what we wanted to do. We were just one or two cards shy, which is fine. We were able to pressure the Zen's deck really, really well. But let's go jump into another match to see how we did. Alrighty. Another game where we are going second. And we see a Petron EX in the active. Okay. We're facing against a Roaring Moon deck. Okay. So, let's see if we can put some early game pressure on our opponent here. Double Darkness into the discard. They did give up a counter catcher. We can knock out that baby Petron if he's brave enough to put that in the active. We need to target down that group on it. So we could put some pressure on just to see how the rest of this turn goes for our opponent. Because we have 3 switching cards in our hand. So we could do some switching. We can get a second Iron Valiant into play. We could definitely put a lot of pressure on one of those two. Okay. So choice band. So we're doing 60 already. I'm going to try to put as much pressure as we can. We can knock this out with what we have. Alright. Another switch. A Surfer, which is another switch. We got the free retreat. Oh, he can only once per turn it. Okay. Okay. I just didn't want to Iono. I think the Surfer was still a better play. This is what I get for not getting everything the way I want and need it to go. So we'll put the Snorlax on there. We can Nest Ball Jet Energy Prime Catcher, put another 40 or another 20, which will put that to 40. It'll be putting it 10 shy regardless. Okay, so there's no real need of worrying about that. So we'll just retreat into the Zacian. We're not doing as much damage as I would hope and would like to do, so that's fine. This Petrant now is one insta-strike ping away. And next turn this EX could be in range as well. There's the boss. Probably, yep, doing the Snorlax. That's why we kept the Jet Energy in hand. To promote anything that we need to promote. We also have the Prime Catcher if we have to do that as well. This Roaring Moon can be a little bit of a problem, so we definitely want to put 30 onto him. He's going to attack with the baby Petrant, it looks like. Okay. Okay. So, we have a little bit of a play here, where we can get a free KO by retreating out and doing some of those kind of plays. So let's do that. So we are going to use its Jet Energy to promote. We are going to put the 20 onto the Petrol. We're going to get a prize from this. We got the boss from this. So, going to give us a Squawkabilly. Okay. So, I think what we want to do is boss the Petrant. And then we're going to retreat the Zacian. Do another 90, which puts 10 shy. We want to put the 30 on that. And then we can ping this for a KO next turn, and we can try to set up the Roaring Moons. Because the Roaring Moon does 200 to itself with his Frenzy Gouging attack. So we want to make sure that we're putting these Roaring Moons into range so it can self-KO it if it wants to take out KOs with us. And a pass. Okay. Okay. So I want to yeah, I want to pick what's going to come in the active when we ping. I'm going to start putting pressure on one of the other Roaring Moons here. I'm just going to try to take prizes. I'm going to build my hand up a little bit with prizes. I know we're turning on counter catchers and stuff. Those were turned on a while ago. So we are going to... I want to Mist Energy one of the Zacian so it can't be knocked out for free. And then we're going to retreat into the Zacian. And we're just going to poke another 90. I'm going to... We're going to start targeting down that Squawk. Because with a stadium, we can just one-shot this poop on it. And if our opponent does get us down to 4 prizes with the Cramorants. Ooh, this Monkey Dory and the concession. Okay, so we put too much pressure on the Roaring Moon. So nice, easy, aggressive win for Zacian. We took advantage of just, I don't know, maybe a poor beginning for our opponent and a good beginning for us. So let's jump into another match and see what our opponent is going to lead with. We did mulligan, so we had to give him a card. We're seeing a Hops Wooloo, so another Hops variant of some form. Okay. Or plays the Hops double for the Gust. We'll see what we see across from us here. Hop Zacian. Okay, so they're playing Hops Zacian, just a little different build than us. Okay. Are you going to pay the retreat cost? No. So. Let's get to cooking ourselves here. So we'll put a Zacian into the active. Let's put a Squawkabilly in the active there. Not the biggest fan of putting a Postwick in just to boost our opponents, but right now, okay, let's put that Zacian in the active there. You know what? I am going to Squawk and Sneeze, and let's see what we get out of this here. Okay, so that's 30. That's 60. I mean, we could do retreat shenanigans. I really want to try to get the Zacian in the active, but we aren't able to do that this turn. So I don't want to give him the opportunity to gust us. So I'd rather take this turn of damage here. Yes. Ideally, I would love to do the 90 or the 120 to the Zacian there, but weren't just quite there yet. There's the choice band, so we'll get more damage next turn. And we have the Jet Energy, so we could Jet Energy up the Iron Valiant, retreat the Iron Valiant. So let's see what our opponent does now. Hops bag. Okay, so we see he's going to have a Snorlax of his own. It'd be silly for him not to. He's going to set up another Zacian. Ultra Ball away their hand. So they will want to do the Brave Slash attack. They're going to try to do the 240. Alright, so they just got their Flip the Script turned on because of that KO last turn. Well, this Zacian's already in range of a Cramorant when we do lose ours. I would love to be able to put the other Zacian in range as well. And then we have to deal with the Archaeolodon as well. So many potential threats on our opponent's side. But they're only doing the 90? And they're doing 30 to our Iron Valiant. There's a switch. So let's just get the attach there, or the item there. So let's switch, promote that. I want to... Now you're in Cramorant range. We're gonna retreat and promote that up. I'm gonna put Mist Energy on the Snorlax. Since we have the energy, I don't want to waste it. And if we just magically get another energy on here, Dynamic Press isn't a underrated attack by any means. So we'll do the 90 here. I want to put some damage on that Duraludon, because this one's already in Cramorant range and potential Snorlax range. So there's no need for me to keep on stacking energy or damage counters onto that Zacian. This Duraludon can be scary because of that. So it's 270 right now. We can try to poke on it a couple more times. We'll be able to get it within Cramorant range and or more handle range. But really, it's that Max Defender isn't very useful in this matchup, which is fantastic. The weakness is not a thing in this matchup. We just have to try to set up KOs with non-Zacians and Zacian cleanup. Because we have 5, we have on track here. We're trying to set up 6 with these 3 here. Or if we really have to put a big boom Cramorant onto this Fezandipiti or onto the Snorlax to kind of get into a different strategic situation, for lack of better terms. So right now we're at 210 here, or sorry, 110 away. So that is a bits plus a insta-strike with all the boosts. So we're 1 Postwick away from being able just to do that with a Zacian, which puts at set 3 prizes. But that doesn't look like they're running the Cramorant at all. So the Cramorant's really not an issue for our opponent's side in terms of a concern for us. That Archaludon does seem to be a small concern. It's becoming a bigger one turn over turn here. So 90 puts that at 190. No, 90 will put that at 210. So, okay. So this is going to be a weird play, but I want to get rid of the Zacian now to get cards. And I want to keep the Prime Catcher for another turn. Because there was no real need, the Prime Catcher. That Zacian that was in the active was really putting pressure on us. This Zacian, if it gets the knockout, which it easily can, that will just allow us to promote this Iron Valiant to get a Cramorant alive. We'll have the Arven. The Arven will be able to get us everything we need for a Cramorant. If we want to put on a Hop Snorlax is 140 plus the 30 for the choice band would be 170 plus an extra helpings, which will get it to 200. So we have options. If we put a Postwick in the play with a Cram, we'll be able to knock out. Oh, there's that. Gave us the Postwick. Okay, cool. Iono. Okay, so we're Ioning down to 3 here. What do we get off the 3? An Arven choice. Okay, cool. Cool. We get almost what we need. We get enough to knock out this, to knock out a couple cards. Like, we get to a spot where we would be comfortable where we're sitting. because we don't even have to use the jet energy unless we want to put around, do some switching to activate Trachean Bits a little bit more. But I don't think we'll have to. We can just do the 210 and just knock out the Zacian, get down to 1 prize, and then figure out what we need to do after that. So we're going to promote the Iron Valiant. We drew the Cramorant off the top of the deck. I don't want to waste the fact that we have the Arven in hand. And I'm using the term waste, meaning I don't want to just lose it. I don't know if that Hop's bag is even worth it. Because we can free retreat, promote here, 120, 150, 180, 210. Let's Pokégear, at least gives us an opportunity at a supporter, I guess. Let's put the other choice band on the Snorlax to make Snorlax live, potentially. Let's retreat. Let's put that Cramorant in the active. And we do the 210, which will knock out the Zacian. Gets us 2 more prizes. It puts us on this weird spot where we have 1 prize and a whole bunch of 2 prizers in front of us. But if we can get this Snorlax into the active, and we have a couple ways of doing it, the Prime Catcher is dead right now. No, it's not. Prime Catcher is not. But I'm forcing him to go through a Cramorant. He's bossing up something. Bossing up the Iron Valiant. Okay. So we lose a potential... We lose our pivot. With nothing else right now, we lose the pivot. But we have a whole bunch of items and pieces in our hand where we could try to recover. And we have a turn to recover. The Cramorant is now dead. Cramorant is now useless. But the Snorlax is very much alive. The Snorlax is very much alive. So if we could just get the Snorlax... If we can get our boss from a Pokégear, or the Prime Catcher from a Pokégear. So... I want to see Autocotch. What's in the deck here? We both are bosses. The Prime Catcher. Okay. So it's just we wanted to thin the deck out there. Let's Pokégear. Never punished. Never punished, ladies and gentlemen. Dynamic Press, 230 on an opposing Snorlax. We actually could have knocked out the other Zacian if we wanted to. We got the last prize, and we won using Snorlax as an attacker with Hop Zacian. So, always a fun way to end the matches of utilizing another card as capabilities against a very strong, very bulky archetype in itself. So there you have it, guys. Hop Zacian. This was built by Brooke Wagner, had a very successful run at the Milwaukee Regional with it. I am sure I definitely did not do the deck any service in terms of gameplay, but I definitely was able to show off the capabilities and the generic strategy of the deck. Hop Zacian, with all those power-ups, turns this 30 into 120 super easily for free, and then you saw it in the last game. That last game, Cramorant and Snorlax were the MVPs. So don't sleep on all these. They all can serve purposes given the right situations. So when you are playing a deck, don't just stare down one Pokemon. Utilize your entire 60. It's all about how you do it. Every card has value. So If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy watching us play different rogue decks within the metas. And we definitely try to show off what all the different cards in the meta pool and the card pool can always do. And if you have any suggestions, please leave those in the comments section. Please let us know what you'd love to see for us to do. We try to showcase every single rogue idea that we can get our hands on and get time to practice. And we hope you guys are enjoying that as well. So with that being said, guys, again, thank you very much. And as always, have fun playing those sneaky decks.